Hi, I'm Jason Tirado, President of Global Accounts at Lightware. I've been out over the last several months showing to consultants, integrators, and end users what I call the huddle room solution from Lightware. Often I get asked, Jason, what's the difference between Lightware and some of your competitors? And I always say it's the analytics, it's the diagnostics, and it's the open API that give us a Lightware difference. From analytics, I refer to the video frame rate analyzer. Nobody else has this tool where you can see the exact pixel count and know about the clock frequency as well. For diagnostics, we're the only ones that have a cable diagnostics tool that can tell you the exact error transmission rates between transmitter and receiver. And finally, the open API. Not everybody understands that every bit of data in the Lightware system is available to higher level management and monitoring systems. This is a big advantage over the Trontrons because they only give you the amount of data that the programmer puts into the system. With ours, it's totally wide open, and if you want to use it for a higher level management and monitoring system, you can do so right now. Those are the three advantages: analytics, diagnostics, and open API. When you're deploying hundreds or thousands of these rooms, they've got to be easy to use, easy to manage, and easy to deploy. Lightware gives you all three. Now let's take a look at the hardware. There are a lot of different ways to create a huddle room solution with products from Lightware. Today, I'm focusing on the SW4 TPS TX240, which is our transmitter, 4-in, 2-out transmitter, and our HDMI TPS RX97, which is the receiver. And that'll take the end of the CAT cable and take us to the HDMI output for our display. Let's focus on the transmitter for a second. As I said, we've got a 4-in, 2-out. The three inputs here are HDMI, HDMI, and DVI-D, but the big advantage is my native DisplayPort input. The native DisplayPort input is something that's been unique to Lightware for a long time, and some competitors are just now catching up, so be sure to point this out to your customers. Because it's DisplayPort, that also gives us the ability to render 4K video across our system. Again, that's a big advantage. Most of our competitors will only do 2K. We can do up to 100 meters at 4K on Category 7 cable, and if you're going 1920 1080, you can actually go up to 170 meters, which is almost double the distance of any of our competitors. And then I talk about the control board. I've got a built-in control processor that allows us to use IR, RS-232, and the general purpose IOs so we can do some contact closure sensing for logic control. This is different because a lot of our competitors have to have an outboard control system completely separate and run a separate program. With Lightware, it's all built in. Let's take a look at how easy it is to set up. So this is the way I usually set up my demonstrations. I'm bringing my laptop running the Lightware device controller, and I use it as a source into the transmitter. From the transmitter, I put the receiver over by the display at the customer's location. Everybody's got a display at the conference room or huddle room, and they never mind if I ask them if I can use it so I can show the software to everybody in the room. In the software, I focus on four main topics: the video frame rate detector, the cable diagnostics tool, the video test pattern generator, and event manager. Now let's take a look at the software. So now we're taking a look at the Lightware device controller software, and I explained that what we're looking at when we first get in here is a visual representation of the huddle room solution itself. Right now I've got green indicators everywhere I've got an active signal, and that's on the audio and the video. The first place I go is the TPS link because that's the link between the transmitter and the receiver on the CAT cable. Once I'm in here, I'll bring people down immediately to the frame detector because we've got a lot of information that's very useful right here. I bring them here because this is a unique feature to Lightware that we can really talk about and get some action on. Right now you can see the horizontal resolution, the vertical resolution, the actual number of pixels that are lit up, the horizontal frequency, the vertical frequency, and our measured pixel clock. Nobody else has this kind of tool. You'd have to spend thousands of dollars on diagnostics tools to be able to get this kind of information about your video input. After I'm done with that, I'll take them to the cable diagnostics tool. This is where engineers literally gasp when they see this, because now we're showing them that we can capture the data going back and forth between the transmitter and the receiver, and if we've got errors in that data because we've got some compromise in our physical layer, they'll know it immediately. These are all lit up green because we're within the tolerances of the data transmission. If for some reason somebody wanted to see it a little bit differently, or they were having intermittent problems, I'll always show them this view because we're capturing every second the errors that are going back and forth between the transmitter and the receiver. If they were having intermittent problems in the room, this is where they could go to open this up and keep it as a log so they would know when something was actually happening that was causing a problem. Finally, I showed them the chart view, and when I do this, I'll generally disconnect the cable connection between the transmitter and receiver. This is great because in real time, you can actually see the drop off in data, and then it recovers, and it'll also recover on the graphic. When I'm done with this, I'll generally bring people up to the test pattern generator. Again, this is one of those features that's really cool and really unique to Lightware. I'll show them that we can actually do a video test pattern of, say, the bars, for example. I've got red, green, blue, white, black, ramp, bar, chest, and cycle, but this shows them that we've got a real tool that they can use when they're commissioning systems. Once I'm done with this, I go into the control parameters, and this is where I show them how easy it is to set up the system so that it can behave in the way that they want it to in their huddle room environment. The first example I use is if somebody walks into the room, we want that to actually turn the room on. And so using a motion sensor, I'll take that contact closure output from the motion sensor. That sends an input to my system that says, hi, somebody walked in the room. And then I decide, what do I want to do based on that event? In this case, I want to send an RS-232 message to my display and turn it on. That's about as simple as it gets. We've got a condition, which is an event in the outside world, and then we've got an action. What is it that we want to do with the Lightware equipment? So we've actually shown them how we can configure and program very easily using this interface. The last example I usually give is where the link state changes to disconnected. This brings them back to what I showed them earlier, that when there's no connection between the transmitter and the receiver, we can actually use that to send a message to somebody. In this case, maybe we've got an Ethernet message we want to send to a higher level management and monitoring system because there's a problem in the room. Well, wouldn't it be great if we knew that problem existed before the user did? Now, when that link state is disconnected, it sends an Ethernet message to our customers. They can generate a trouble ticket. They can send someone to the room. They can solve the problem before anybody gets in there and notices something's wrong. That's the power of Lightware. As you can see, it doesn't get any easier or more powerful than that. What you've got to do now is go ask your customers what huddle room solutions they're working on and show them the Lightware advantages. Good luck and good selling.